good news to report on nearly all fronts.
Perch patterns have been working really well.
This week's BuzzBite report,
just keep snapping it off the bottom.
Auto chart live.
You've got fish doing a number of different things.
See a lot of them?
Oh, yeah!
They are heavy. Look at this giant. How's that?
Today we're talking fishing big water for big fish, plus hot angling tactics and red-hot bites from all across the upper Midwest. This is AnglingBuzz TV. I'm Dave Sanda.
I'm Troy Linder.
And of course, joining us later in the show are BuzzBite reporters in the field with their local updates from all their area waters.
And today's show is all about fishing big water fishing. That goes with big populations of big fish, and there's a lot of that across the upper Midwest.
You want to find those big schools of big fish, you go to big water. In fact, let's look at some of the fishing opportunities that exist in some of these big bodies of water throughout the upper Midwest.
Hey, you want to make your dreams come true, this is where to do it.
But she is a giant.
Look at that thing. No question about it.
That was totally on cue, man.
It's 48 minus 4.5. 44 pounder.
From gigantic natural lakes to expansive river and reservoir systems to the massive Great Lakes, large bodies of water have amazing capacities to grow huge numbers of trophy fish. Blessed with a wide variety of seasonal habitat, abundant forage populations, and plenty of room for fish to live and roam, they provide ideal environments that allow game fish to grow to their maximum potential.
For many people, that would be a walleye of a lifetime.
We're talking vast schools of giant walleyes, wolf packs of monster muskies, aggressive hordes of big-bellied smallmouth bass, big water fish that are consistently on the move, constantly on the chew, and usually ready to bite on a moment's notice.
Oop, like that.
There's little doubt that these are the finest trophy waters in North America. They offer many places to fish and a wide variety of fishing patterns and reliable opportunities to catch the biggest fish that swim.
Look at that. They are heavy. Look at that belly on that thing.
On the Great Lakes, offshore winds may rile up angry seas a few miles out. Larger boats equipped with modern electronics are necessary for venturing far offshore. Yet in wind-protected areas near shore, a variety of game fish often remain available to catch, even in smaller boats. Rivers, river mouths, and harbors draw seasonal runs of most species, bringing giant fish within easy reach of anglers fishing from shore under the right conditions. Large natural lakes and reservoirs theoretically function much the same. They feature seasonal migrations from inshore spawning areas, out to distant summer feeding zones, to deeper water habitat for fall and winter. Fish of most species are almost constantly on the move, following forage throughout the changing seasons. On any given day, traveling miles up or down a lake or impoundment is often necessary to locate schools of active biters and put fish on the line.
Here, I got you that time, you sucker.
Yeah.
That's a walleye, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And safety is extremely important when you're fishing big bodies of water. You can get some really big waves and some nasty, nasty weather out there.
Don't I know it? Many years ago, I was fishing up along the edge of Lake Superior when the storm came through that sank the Edmund Fitzgerald, and we were in a lot smaller boat than that one. I'll tell you, it was pretty precarious, and back in the day, it was a lot more dangerous to go out and fish these kinds of areas. But nowadays, we have much bigger boats, we've got electronics, we've got GPS navigation, a lot more safety gear, and it's just a lot more feasible and easier for people to go out and fish these big bodies of water and catch some of those really big fish.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And right now, it's time for our AnglingBuzz news for this week. The 33rd annual Nick Adams Fishing Classic is happening on Gull Lake in central Minnesota. This fundraising event supports Camp Confidence, which is an outdoor center for persons with developmental disabilities. This is happening Saturday, June 18th. The 67th annual Muskie Festival in Hayward, Wisconsin is happening June 16th through the 19th. The whole weekend concludes at 1 p.m. on the 19th with a grand parade down Main Street. The Michigan DNR is running a fishing video contest called Fishing in 15. Participants create a 15-second or less video showing the DNR what fishing means to them. This is the last week to submit a video. It ends on June 17th.
When we come back, we're going to head to our highlight destination, which this week is Mille Lacs Lake in Minnesota, and then followed by our BuzzBite reporters in the field as Angling Buzz continues.
Because boaters know and follow Minnesota's aquatic invasive species laws, 98% of lakes are not known to have any zebra mussels. 95% are not known to have any kind of invasive animals or plants. Let's keep it this way. Clean aquatic plants and animals from boats, trailers, and equipment. Drain all water from watercraft, including the motor, and keep drain plugs out during transport. Dispose of unused bait properly. Together, we're preventing the spread of aquatic invasive species in Minnesota.
Lake Vermilion. Explore. Relax. Reconnect.
Minnesota's most beautiful lake.
Get hooked on our trophy walleye,
That's a beauty.
bass,
My favorite fish.
musky fish,
That's a beauty there.
Things to do? You'll never get bored.
Rooms with a view? We got 'em.
Lake Vermilion. 4 seasons of fun.
I could not imagine my life without Max. He's someone I can count on. Through the good and the bad. My loyal friend. He greets me when I get home, keeps me company on the road. He's always there for me and our kids. Max, he's not just any pet. He's family. Mills Fleet Farm, serving men's best friend since 1955.
Welcome back to Angling Buzz. Right now it's time for a highlight destination feature. We're going to central Minnesota, Mille Lacs Lake, a place that you know very well.
It's only 20 miles from where we sit right now, so we do know it well. And Mille Lacs is not only a walleye lake, it's filled with a lot of different species of fish, just like many big bodies of water throughout the upper Midwest. Change, they say, is never easy. It upsets familiar patterns and forces you out of your comfort zone. Yet change can also provide great opportunity for those who recognize and adapt to it.
You're going to dip both of them? A double dipper?
Mille Lacs Lake in central Minnesota has long been one of the world's most prestigious walleye fisheries. Spinner rigging and slipbobber fishing for walleyes originated here. Regional anglers fine-tuned live bait rigging on its vast waters, and it was one of the first places that fishermen cast shad-shaped crankbaits for reef walleyes.
Mouthful of shad wrap.
Several years ago, Mille Lacs experienced a substantial change. Walleye numbers declined, likely due to the interaction of several factors. Simultaneously, populations of trophy smallmouth bass, pike, and muskies expanded, and perch numbers fluctuated.
Look at that. I got the other one. I got the other one.
Today, catching numbers of 3 to 6 pound smallmouth bass is not unusual. And is still one of the best places in Minnesota to catch a 20-pound pike. For die-hard muskie freaks, Mille Lacs is undoubtedly the place to go for a shot at a giant. There were perhaps more 50-pound class muskies caught here last season than on any other lake in North America. Despite several year classes of walleyes being at low levels, there's a silver lining waiting in the wings. The strong 2013 Mille Lacs walleye hatch today supports large numbers of fish in the 12 to 14 inch range, ensuring an up-and-coming spawning population. Based on their overall analysis, the Minnesota DNR instituted several actions geared at returning the walleye fishery to its former levels. In 2016, walleye fishing on Mille Lacs will be catch and release only. Night fishing for walleyes is not allowed from May 16th through January 1st. Muskie anglers are allowed to fish at night, however, but all baits in possession, live or artificial, must be at least 8 inches long. Pike anglers are allowed to keep 5 fish, but only one over 40 inches. All pike between 30 and 40 inches must be immediately released. Bass anglers may keep 4 fish, but only one over 21 inches. All bass between 17 and 21 inches must be immediately released. Undoubtedly, these bold steps mean a big change in the ways anglers will fish Mille Lacs in the near future. Yet at the same time, the stats are off the charts for smallmouths, pike, and muskies, with big crappies, hefty largemouth bass, and 30-pound carp found in shallow bays. With all of these fishing opportunities at peak levels, Mille Lacs is still the place to go for catching many species of big fish now and in the future. Do the lake at millelacs.com.
Mille Lacs Lake is truly an incredible fishery. It's also been a pretty hot topic. You go online, people are pretty opinionated on either side of the coin and what's been happening there. I know you've been following the regulations and the controversy there pretty closely.
Well, absolutely. It's only 20 miles from our office. We fish it all the time. We catch all kinds of good fish out there. Right now, the only problem is that the walleye population is down somewhat. But all fisheries, even these big classic fisheries, go through cycles, ups and downs. Right now, the walleye population is down a little bit. Other ones are blooming. That's eventually going to even back out again, given some time. We saw the same phenomenon happen on Upper Red Lake. We saw it happen on Leech Lake not so long ago. Fisheries cycle, and that's just the way it is. You give it a chance, give the DNR their ability to apply these innovative regulations, and that fishery's going to bounce right back.
Yeah, I've been out there catching some pretty big smallmouth lately, which brings us to our AnglingBuzz reporters in the field, bringing you what's happening in their home waters.
First up is Charlie Moore, who usually reports to us from the glacial lakes of eastern South Dakota. This time, he's way out west in the Black Hills.
The good news is water flows are great. Last 2 years, the water's been very high. Fishing has been pretty tough with the high water. Right now, all the flows are incredible, which has made fishing very doable. Fish are set up in very predictable spots because of the currents. You know, they're in pockets, they're in eddies, they're in ripples, they're in runs. It's been very good. For the fast water, I've been using the Bitch Creek. I tie this one in a size 10. For the calm water or the pools, I've been using the Flashback, which is strictly a copper john with flash of glue on the back. And the always reliable Prince Nymph. I've caught fish on the Prince Nymph this week, bead-headed Prince Nymph. Remember to put your strike indicator about 18 to 20 inches above that fly when you're fishing these streams. So if you're out in the Black Hills, bring your fly rod. The fishing has been great. The scenery is incredible. So get out to the Black Hills.
Up next is Brad Jurek on the Red River.
Just 2 weeks ago, we were begging for rain on the Red River here in Grand Forks, and our prayers were answered. We got a hair over 4 inches, river's rising, and the fish are here. We're in the home stretch of the pre-spawn bite right now, and it's game on. Fish the heads of troughs, outside bends, anywhere you can get a little bit of faster current and still be safe in your boat. Suckers, goldeyes, frogs, doesn't matter what the bait is, the fish are on the prowl. Just make sure you cut your bait a little bit shorter, because sometimes the hits are so violent that they're actually pulling the bait off and never getting the hook in their mouth. With the good comes the bad. The Drayton stretch of the river, in particular the ramp downstream of the dam, is unaccessible due to some flooding situations because it lays low. The Hastings Landing downtown is usable, so it is a go up there. Get out, have a lot of fun, and enjoy the big fish.
Yeah, that looked like some pretty good catfishing on the Red River. And coming up after the break, more BuzzBite reports as AnglingBuzz continues.
High-tech construction, building with old-world craftsmanship. Pride and passion, the same qualities that define high-tech construction go into every project we build. With meticulous attention to detail, our experienced tradesmen bring your floor plan to life. Our unwavering customer service results in a truly satisfying building experience. High-tech construction, where technology meets old-world craftsmanship.
Lake Winnipegashish, Big Winnie. Let's go back in time to a real up-north vacation spot, a place where memories are made. Big Winnie is situated in the Chippewa National Forest and gateway to some of Minnesota's finest trophy walleye, pike, perch, untapped bass, and muskie fishing. It's the perfect place for family and friends when you really want to get away. Go to lakewinnie.net to find our little piece of heaven.
Hey, we're back, and right now we'll be joined by Kevin McCoy over at Lake Mille Lacs in Minnesota, where he's been experiencing some great fishing for walleyes and smallmouth bass.
Walleye fishing up here in Mille Lacs has just been awesome. We've got a lot of fish in this system, catching the smaller ones all the way up to the 26, 27, 28 inches. So it's really been a fun year. Smallmouth bass, same way. We've got a really big class of 19 to 20 and a quarter inch smallmouth out here right now. That's just been a blast, and they're off their beds now. They're going into summer patterns. The last few weeks I've been using tube jigs and hair jigs up in the shallows, really having a great time with those. Along with those, they're getting a lot of bonus walleyes. Just the other day I had just about 20 walleyes along with those smallmouth, so definitely a great way of fishing and great time to be up here. So whether you're a novice, whether you're a pro, come up and check out Mille Lacs.
Our next report is from Lake Winnibigoshish with Nate Brown.
We've had a phenomenal start to our walleye season, and we're catching fish both shallow and deep water. For your shallow water bite, you're going to want to choose a day that is overcast. You're going to want to fish the wind-blown shorelines in that 6 to 9 foot range. You'll use a 1/8 ounce or 1/4 ounce jig tipped with a fat head or a shiner. And for your deeper water walleyes, they've moved out onto some of the more major break lines in that 16 to 21 foot range. Jigging is effective, as well as my personal favorite, the Lindy rig. I have a 3/8 ounce weight with a swivel, a 3 to 4 foot leader, and a single hook. I'll tip that with a leech, and these methods have been proven effective time and time again on Winnie. Hope to see you up here, and good luck fishing.
Next, let's head on up and check in with Billy Rosner at Lake Vermilion.
Another great week of fishing both on the lake and the river. The bass, I've been throwing some of these new shadow wrap chads. These have been working really well. Been getting both largemouth and smallies on those. The Terminator spinner baits have been working well. And one of my all-time favorites is this number 3 and number 4 blue fox this time of year. These have been putting a lot of bass in the boat for me. Muskie fishing, heard of a 54-incher caught in less than 6 feet of water, so keep that in mind. I like throwing these blue foxes, the number 6s, and then even I'll go as small as these number 4s. These work really well on Vermilion also. Walleye fishing, it's pretty much transition stuff right now with rigs, leeches, and I like using a 1/2 crawler on the rigs. Rigs 36 to 42 inches work well. Have a great week, travel safe, and hopefully we'll see you up here soon.
Our next report is from Charlie Nelson catching big walleyes in the St. Louis River at Duluth Superior.
Right now, shiners are in shallow. We're working on the shallow flats, and some of these nice walleyes are out picking shiners out of the weed beds. So we're in right now 3.5 to 5 feet of water, pulling crawlers about 1.5 miles an hour, and seeing what we can get. They're nice right now, and they're fat, and they're hitting hard. So don't be afraid to get into the shallow water and give it a try.
Next, let's head on over to Jason Helfin in northwest Wisconsin.
With water temperatures now in the low 70s, fish activity has pulled off the shorelines and is now focused on near-shore structure. On many of our clear lakes, that means thick cabbage beds, which are now developing rapidly in 8 to 12 feet of water. Focus on the outside edges of these cabbage beds during midday, over the tops of the beds during cloudy or windy days, and on the inside edges between the weeds and the shoreline during low light periods. Walleyes in particular are abundant right now in the weeds. On many of our stained lakes, like the Chippewa flowage to the north or Lake Wissota to the south, this offshore cover often takes the form of flooded stumps or artificial fish cribs. I use Humminbird side imaging to identify large concentrations of stumps or cribs, and then slow troll light jigs tipped with soft plastics nearby for some great multi-species action.
Our last report is from Captain Ben Wolf in Michigan.
It's mid-June here in Michigan. We've got some really fantastic options for anglers all across the state. Salmon fishing overall remains excellent out of ports like Manistee, Muskegon, Grand Haven. Those are all producing really nice catches of king and coho salmon, and anglers that are able to get out are having fantastic days on the water. Lake trout fishing out of Frankfort and in Grand Traverse Bay and Traverse City is still outstanding, although Frankfort is starting to see some very nice salmon catches as well. Across the state, bass fishing is absolutely fantastic right now for post-spawn fish. Both smallmouth bass and largemouth bass, for the majority, are in their post-spawn period and putting on the feed bag. We are continuing to see some very nice dry fly action for river anglers, as we're still seeing those mayflies starting to hatch, and that hatch is only going to get bigger and more productive. And so fly anglers fishing hex patterns are going to probably do exceptionally well. For more information, or if you're looking for a captain and guide in the state of Michigan, please give Sportfish Michigan a call or check us out on the web, sportfishmichigan.com.
Coming up next, Troy and I are headed over to the workshop with some cool products for big water fishing, followed of course by our technique of the week.
Running in rough water can be a pain, literally.
Hey, I never knew how comfortable a ride could be.
Until I added Smooth Moves to my boat. Its 4-spring design with hydraulic shock can smooth even the roughest of rides. With the built-in slide and swivel, you maintain all the function of your existing seat. A turn of the handle, adjust for conditions and passenger weight.
Hey, it's easy to install and built to last.
Smooth Moves, your back will thank you. I know mine does.
Sportfish Michigan is your #1 source for top charter captains and fishing guides in Michigan. Our network of professionals are full-time anglers with years of experience providing customers with the best possible fishing trip services. Fish for trout, salmon, steelhead on Lake Michigan or its famous tributary rivers, the Traverse City area's world-class smallmouth bass, walleye fishing on the Detroit River and Saginaw Bay, or northern Michigan's spectacular ice fishing. We do it all. Sportfish Michigan. Get out. Get bit.
And now it's time for our cool products segment, brought to you by Mills Fleet Farm. I'm normally here by myself. This week, big water trolling. I'm going to leave it to Mr. Sanda.
Thank you very much, Troy. We have a variety of different products here that you can use to fish big water. The whole thing about fishing big water is covering water, straining the depth from the top to the bottom to contact schools of active fish. And you need a variety of different products that'll help you do that. First up on this side, we have planer boards, from little ones you can use for trout and steelhead along shore. The big ones you can pull musky baits. This would be the typical walleye size that you would use pulling crankbaits or spoons, okay? Basically what they do is they spread your lines to the side of the boat almost like a shrimp trawler. What you need to do is you let your lure out, you get it running to depth, and then you attach the board to your line through here, the little clips. Let out some more line and let that go out. It angles out to the side. You put your rod in the holder, set out another one. So you get a squadron of these little bobbers out there bobbing up and down as you troll along. When you get a bite, it drops back. It indicates that there's a fish. You reel the board in, take it off the line, and then you reel your fish to the net. All lures obviously will dive to a certain depth on their own. You can add a sinker to your line ahead of the lure if you want, or you can use a lead core trolling line like this. Basically what they are is a Dacron or other line with a lead filament inside. It's kind of like a living sinker. It means that the more line you let out, the more weight you have and the deeper your lures will go. Lead core lines are typically marked with a different color every 10 yards, so you can visually tell how much line is out. And when you get a productive combination of line length and trolling speed, you replicate it, you do it over and over. Speaking of replication, we have a Daiwa AccuDepth 27 line counter reel here. It's really easy for a lot of people to use because it has a little number gauge here. You let out a length of line, and when you're catching fish, the next time you let it back out to the same number. It's very easy to replicate. Now, as far as your lures go, we've got a little squadron of these guys down here. Very popular open water trolling baits, and it depends on the species. This Selmo Hornet here is very popular for walleyes on Devil's Lake, North Dakota. This Reef Runner here in the Wonder Bread color, which I really love, that's real popular on Lake Erie for walleyes. Okay, we've got some Thunder sticks here, which are good minnow baits. They've got a nice rolling action to them. It's not real aggressive. It's great for walleyes, for trout, for salmon. For some reason, the Hottentot here from Storm has always been the most predominant trolling crankbait on Saginaw Bay for walleyes. Some guys really like to add a little piece of crawler to the front hook. It's a real aggressive wobbling bait. Okay, we have some shad baits here from Storm and Rapala. Very good wherever fish are feeding on shad. And finally, some trolling spoons, which are real popular for trout and salmon. And remember, you can find these products at your local Mills Fleet Farm or at fleetfarm.com. And for our last product, let's join Troy out on the water.
I'm out here on some big water. It's relatively calm right now. I'm on Lake Mille Lacs. It was pretty choppy earlier, and having a good seat like this is from Smooth Moves. This is the absolute most comfortable seat I've been in a boat. I had a ruptured disc in my back from a pretty bad car accident a number of years ago, and I can't tell you how much better I feel when I'm in this on big water, and I think you will too. They're easy to install, and they are absolutely incredible. They will save your back. And right now, well, it's time for our AnglingBuzz Technique of the Week.
The swim baits we're talking about for smallmouth are the soft plastic versions with a boot or paddle tail. We fish baits from 3.5 to 5 inches in length, with the 4-inchers being the go-to size. There's a ton of beautiful options available and a lot of different riggings, but one of the easiest and most effective presentations is on a jig. The jig plays a critical role in presenting the bait, especially the weight of the jig. For shallow water smallies, an 1/8 ounce head is the deal. If the fish are deeper, simply go to a heavier head. We rig boot tails on swim bait heads, ball heads, football heads, aspirin heads, darter heads, on and on. There's subtle differences in how the bait acts based on the head design, and it's fun to experiment. But really, just get a jig with a good plastic keeper and that'll get the job done. Lastly, this presentation is so simple. Cast, count it down, and reel it slow. Hesitate or stop the retrieve here and there, and you're in business.
Yeah, Fatso, look at that.
Look at the tub on that one, huh?
That's a tub of lard.
Well, we hope you enjoyed our Technique of the Week. And one thing to remember is little swim baits like this not only work for smallmouth, but a variety of fish.
Absolutely, and guess what? We're out of time. I'm Dave Sanda.
And I'm Troy Lindner. And be sure to stop by your local Mills Fleet Farm store to enter our sweepstakes and win a chance to fish with us in the beautiful Brainerd Lakes area.
Next time, it's all about summer walleye fishing. And in the meantime, be sure to look us up on the web at AnglingBuzz.com, see what our BuzzBite reporters in the field have to say, and as I always like to say, they're going to help you put more and bigger fish in the boat in the weeks ahead.
This week's BuzzBite report.
Charlie Moore. Bray Brolstone.
Lee Telkin here.
Brad Durick up here on the Red River.
Muskegon River.
Leech Lake.
Devil's Lake. Beautiful Lake Vermilion.
Mille Lacs.
Topwater's been really, really fun.
Go to the plastics.
Bass like this.
A lot of walleyes like that.
Good luck, everybody.
Have fun. We'll see you next week.